So basically today we are going to start with the server side part, which is the second tier you can consider of our full stack web development architecture, right? So for that, let me first of all share my screen. I hope my screen is visible to you, right?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yes. So basically, as you guys are already aware that in a full stack architecture, we have three tiers, right? First is your front end. Second, you can say that is the business logic. And third, you can say as a database, right? So on a first 2 days, we have talked regarding the front end part, the basic part, right? So now today we are going to focus on the business logic, which runs at the server side. So that is why this tier is also known as the server side part, right? Because whatever the stuff, whatever the action is going to be performed, that is going to be performed at the backend side, at the server side. So the client will not be able to aware that what is actually happening, which type of code, what type of instructions are followed whenever the client is interacting with the front end part, right? So how these things are happening, how we can write the logic, how we can build up the server side part, that we are going to learn. But for that, we required some of the tools and the technologies, right? So here, as you are already aware that we are going to create Java based web application, right? So for that, we should have the basic knowledge of Java programming, right? And whenever we are dealing with Java, so as it is the higher level language, we all are aware that we required a compiler, right? So that means we required one Java development kit, JDK, right? That is the first requirement for performing the server side part. Second, as it is the server side part, we should have one server installed at our system, right? So one server we required, and third, we required one IDE using which we can write the code, right? Where we can write the code for performing certain task activity, right? So we required JDK server. For the server, we are going to use Apache Tomcat server. And for the writing the code, the IDE which we are going to use, that will be the Eclipse IDE, right? So before I get started with the hands-on part or with the theoretical part, I am going to provide you the links. So if anyone want to download it, so they can do that, right? So from where you can be able to download all this stuff. So for that, you just need to open your browsers, and in the browser, you need to search for, first of all, Java Development Kit, JDK downloads. Whenever you will go for the JDK downloads, you will get this type of options. So here I'm just providing you the link for JDK 17. That is the 17 version. We are not utilizing the latest version. Instead of that, you can use any down version, right? Because whenever you are working with the latest version, might be possible there are some of the bugs or something, so because of that you might get some of the errors kind of things, right? So it is always better to use one version below from the latest version, right? So here we are going to use this JDK 17, as majority of us utilize the Windows operating system. So here I am within the Windows system. You can see there are three options provided. One is the zip file, one is the MSI file, right? And we are going to use this exe file. We will use the bean.exe file. So this is the link which you need to use, which that you need to download, right? So let me just copy this link address and let me provide you this in the chat box so that if anyone wants, they can use it. No, Kiran ma'am, we cannot use. Actually, the basic Java program you can do in the VS Code by just utilizing the extensions and all those things. But as we need to do the configuration with the Tomcat and everything, so that is why we are utilizing the Eclipse. That will be the better option whenever you deal with the enterprise edition, right? So that is why we are utilizing Eclipse. Yes, so this is the link for JDK. Because it is the Java based application. So first we require this Java development kit, right? The another thing was the Eclipse IDE. So for Eclipse IDE on the browser, you just need to search for Eclipse download. Whenever you will search for the Eclipse download, this type of site you will be able to see. You just need to go down over here, and from this packages, from over here you can see install your favorite desktop IDE packages, right? So here there is no much steps to install your Eclipse IDE, because we are just going to download the packages. So in that we just need to extract it. So it is a platform independent you can consider. So anywhere at and on any platform you just need to download the package and extract it, so your Eclipse will be ready for for working, right? So here I will click on the download packages. Within the download packages, as you know that in Java we have different additions, right? There are 4 different additions in Java for performing different activities. That means the standard addition is there, right, for the basic task. For if you want to develop the web-based application, you should go with the enterprise edition, that is EE, right? If you want to develop the mobile application, then you should go with ME, micro edition, right? If you want to develop the internet applications, then you can go with the 4th one, right? So there are 4 different editions in the Java for different purposes. So as our purpose is to just develop the web-based application, so here you can see from lots of different packages, we are going to choose the second package, right, which is Eclipse IDE for enterprise Java and web developers. So there is no need to click on this link. Instead, you can see on right hand side, we have the 3 options for Windows, for Mac, for Linux. So for Windows, this is the link. So whenever you will download or whenever you will click on this link, it will provide you the zip file. Okay, so let me just copy this address and let me provide you this also. I hope my voice is audible properly, right? Are you guys able to hear me properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, great. Yes, so this was the second thing. And the third thing is Apache Tomcat server. So in Apache Tomcat server, we again have lots of versions, right? But the most suitable version with our Eclipse IDE, that is the version 9, right? So that is why we are going to download the version 9 for the Eclipse, for the Apache Tomcat server. So whenever you will search for the Apache Tomcat, you just need to Google that Tomcat 9 download. Okay, so you will be able to see this type of page over there. And here you just need to select the 64-bit Windows zip file, right? So this link also I'm just providing you. This is for the Tomcat. Right, so these are the 3 links. So these are the 3 things which must be installed in your system if you want to perform this hands-on, right? So in JDK, after downloading the JDK file, that is the exe file, that means it is the executable file, right? So what you need to do is you just need to run it as an administrator, or you can double click on it, and then you just need to click on next, and it is going to be installed in your system. But once you install your JDK, after that, you need to set your environment, right? In the environment variable, you need to set the paths of your JDK, right? So in my case, where I have installed my Java JDK, so that I have installed within my C drive. Okay, so I will go to the C drive. In that, I will go to the program files. Within program files, there is the Java folder. Within that Java, JDK 19 I have installed. Okay, so JDK 19. And in this, you can see the bin folder is there. Right, I will go till bin folder. Wherever you have installed your JDK file, your JDK version, till then you just need to go. Okay. So in my case, I have installed it in my C drive, program files, Java, JDK 19 and bin. Okay. What you need to do is you just need to select this path. Whenever you will click on this path bar, your path will come automatically. Okay, so this is the folder path. This path you need to copy. What you need to do, you need to copy this path. Okay, once you copy this path, after that you need to search for environment variable. Okay, so I will click on this start button and I will search for environment variable. Right, whenever you will type environment variable, the first option you will get, that is from the control panel, that is edit the system environment variables. Right, so you just need to click on this. Whenever you will click on this, one window will pop up. Okay, so this is the system properties window. By default you will be in the advanced tab, right? And if you are not in the advanced tab, then you need to go to the advanced tab. Over there, you will be able to see this environment variables. You need to click on this environment variable. Whenever you will click on that button, it will open another pop-up window where you can see some of the list of environment variables. In that, the user variables are there and some system variables are there. So we are going to work with the system variables. Okay, what we are going to do? We are going to work with the system variables. In system variables, you need to search for the path variable. PATH, path variable you need to search. So you can scroll it down and you can see over here the path variable is there. Okay, if you don't find any path variable, then you need to create a new path variable. If it is already then you need to edit your path variable. Okay, and whenever you are creating a new path, then in that case, please make sure that paths P must be in a capital. Okay, paths P must be in a capital. Okay, now over here, after clicking on this path, that means we have selected that path and you need to click on edit. You need to click on edit. After clicking on edit, this type of window will pop up. Here you need to paste your path which you have copied, right? Wherever you have installed your Java JDK file, that bin directory path you need to paste over here. For pasting purpose, there should be the cursor. How we will get the cursor? So you can click on new. Whenever you will click on new, so on a new line, you will get the cursor. And here you can paste your path. In my case, I have already done this configuration, right? You can see C drive, program files, Java, JDK 19 bin, right? So this is what you need to do. And after that, you just need to click on OK. Here also OK. And then again here also OK. So this is what you need to do after installing your JDK file. Okay, what you have done, you have set your environment variable. Right, why we are setting this environment variable? So that wherever we will run any Java file or something, so directly this bin directory will be called, and based on that all the Java programs will be executed. There is no need to do any other configuration or anything, right? Automatically the path will be searched by this environment variable and your code will be executed properly. Okay, so this is the step which you need to follow after installing your Java JDK. I hope the steps are clear to you, right? Is there any doubt till now?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Yes. So this is the first step which we have completed. Now the second two step, that is how we can install our Eclipse IDE and how we can install our Tomcat server, right? So for that, there is no such steps you need to follow. What you need to do for both the things, you have downloaded your zip file, right? In my case, I have downloaded that zip file over here in my E drive. Okay, in my E drive, you can see this is the zip file Eclipse JEE 2022, right? This is the zip file, and this is the Tomcat file, right? Apache Tomcat 9.0.70, right? So both the zip files are there, right? So what you need to do at whatever the location you want this two things to be installed at that location, you just need to extract this zip file. For installing your Eclipse and Tomcat, Apache Tomcat server, you just need to extract your zip files, right? In my case, you can see within this E drive only I have extracted. This is the Apache Tomcat server folder. You can see in that bin configuration library files, everything is there, right? And this Eclipse is the folder where I have just extracted my Eclipse zip file. So by extracting, everything is going to be sorted. Everything, you will get all your bin files, your configuration files, your plugins and everything. And now it is ready to use. There is no other steps you need to follow. Okay, so you just need to unzip your zip files. That's it. Fine. So now we have downloaded and installed your Java JDK, Eclipse IDE, and Apache Tomcat server. These three things are ready in my system, right? You guys can download it, and whatever the steps I have said, you can follow that steps. Meanwhile, what I can do is we can start with the theoretical concepts and then we will do the hands-on part. Okay. So let's just see what basically this server side part is and how we can deal with it, right? So basically on a day 3, we are going to do the deep dive at the backend part, right? So today in the morning part, we will try to complete this business logic, and in the afternoon part, we will work on the database part, and then we will see how we can integrate your business logic with the database part. That means the full-fledged application development we will try to see. Okay, so for that, you need to understand, you should have the basic idea of the Java concepts, right? Because the application which we are going to create, that is the Java based web application. And we all are aware that Java is the object oriented programming language. So in that, everything, whatever the things we want to do, whatever the code we want to write, everything is going to be executed with the help of classes and the objects only, right? Those are the main two entities, main two things you can consider of a Java programs, right? Apart from these two things, we have the other concepts, which is called as the OOPS concepts, right? And those concepts are abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism, right? So as you I'm sure you are already teaching these things to your students, so you might be aware of these concepts already. So I want to hear from you guys that what do you mean by abstraction? What comes to your mind whenever you heard this term abstraction? What is that? Yes, anyone? What do you mean by abstraction?
Hiding of implementation details.
Yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct, Sana ma'am. Yes. Abstraction is nothing else but hiding of implementation details. That means it is going to hide the complexity. That means your methods you can define in a class, right? But whatever the definition of your method is there, that is going to be hidden, right? So that For that, the class you need to define as an abstract class. For that, you need to use the abstract keyword. And within the abstract class, whatever the method we defined, that is called as the abstract method. Yes, this is the hiding data unit. Yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So this is the one of the way of providing security kind of thing also you can consider, because here from the third party, from the third user, we are just trying to hide whatever the instructions, whatever the steps we are going to follow for performing something, right? So that is called as abstraction, which is going to provide the abstract view of a particular thing, and the detailed part will be hidden from the user. Yes, absolutely correct. The second term is encapsulation. So anyone can tell me what do you mean by encapsulation? Wrapping the data. Yes, absolutely correct. Wrapping the data. Yes.
Binding of data, ma'am.
Yes, binding of data. Absolutely correct, Rakesh sir. Or you can also say that that is also used to hide the data from the third party, right? How we can hide it? By wrapping it in something, right? So whenever you want that a particular data should not be used outside of your class, in that case, you can just define that particular variables as the private one, right? And because of that, it is not going to be accessed outside of the class. But whenever you want to access it, because uh, whenever the whatever the user details are entered, that we want to save in the variables, right? So the input we are going to take from the user, and that we are going to assign to our variables. So for that, for doing all those stuff, we need to use those variables outside of the class. But if you are defining it as a private, so you will not be able to access it, right? So if you want to access, so in that case, you need to use getter and the setter methods, right? Get method and set method for accessing and for assigning the data, the values to that particular variable. So if you will try to access the data directly, then you will not be able to do that. But through the get and set method, you can be able to access the data, right? So that is the whole concept of encapsulation. Yes. Next is your inheritance. So what do you mean by inheritance? Yes, implement reusability using inheritance, parent and child. Yes. Yes. Anyone else? What do you mean by inheritance? Base class from derived class. Yes. Okay. So the basic example which every time we used to give to the students, that is, you can take the example of your grandfather, your father, and yourself, right? The three generations, right? Whatever the behavior, whatever the nature, the key feature, the face features your grandparent is having, your grandfather is having, the same thing will be reflected, right? The same type of face expression features nature will be there in your parent, your father, and the same thing will be there in you as well, right? Of course, you will have your own identity, you will have your own personality, you will have some your own facial features and your behavior, your nature, but some of the things you are taking from your father, from your parent, right? So this is, you can consider as inheritance, that you are inheriting something from your parent class, right? So whenever you are dealing with the inheritance, that means there should be two classes, at least two classes. One is the parent class, which we say as a base class, right? And the, or you can say super class, and the next is the child class, that you can say as a derived class or a subclass, right? So whatever the features, functionalities are there in the parent class, that we are trying to inherit in the child class, and from the child class we try to use that features. So there is no need to define the same features, functionality again and again. Instead of that, we can directly use that, right? Okay, great. And last topic, that is the polymorphism. So what is polymorphism? What do you mean by polymorphism? One in many forms. Yes, absolutely correct. One in many forms. Same information, but different situation. Yes. Doing one action in many forms. Yes, absolutely correct. That means in polymorphism, as polymorphisms are based on the methods only, right? There will be two types of polymorphism you can consider. One is the what you can say the method overloading, and another is method overriding, right? Yes, absolutely correct, Runal ma'am. The many forms, for example, humans, right? So everyone, we all are human only, but still we are different from each other, right? So this is the base example you can consider. That means the method name will remain same, right? I am human, you are also human, method name will remain same, right? But the task, the action, the activity, the instruction which is going to be performed, that will be different in the multiple methods, right? So that is the concept of polymorphism. In that we have two types: method overloading, overriding. In overloading, you can differentiate the methods with the help of the number of arguments, because the number of arguments which we are passing in the method, that will be different in both the methods, right? Method name will remain the same, but the number of arguments will be different. And because of that, at the compile time, you can be able to identify the method by its definition, right? And while in method overriding, your method name and your number of arguments, both the things will be same only. So how you can identify at the runtime? How? By because in method overriding, you are inheriting that method from one class to the another class, and then you are trying to access that method using your object of a particular class, right? So whatever the objects you are utilizing for accessing it, based on that, at the runtime, you can be able to see that which particular method we are trying to call, right? So that is the concept of method overloading and method overriding. Both are the type of polymorphism, where the method name is same, but the method is acting in a different way, different manner, according to whatever the method we are calling, right? So yes, so these are the basic concepts of Java, and you are already aware. So I think we should go for the server side part, right? So how we can use the concepts at the server side, how we can do the programming for the server side, what are the other packages, which are the other library files, which are the different classes which we need to use if we want to deal with the server side part. So for understanding the server side part, you need to understand what is basically the server side scripting, right? So basically, server side scripting is nothing else but the basic client server architecture you can consider, where the client sends the request to the server, and the server is the one who is responsible for providing the response to the client. And this thing will happen whenever you will have your dynamic application, right? Because otherwise what will happen, you are just providing the pages only, right? But if you require the database connectivity, so for that you need to develop your dynamic application. So whatever the request will be sent by the client, your server will fetch, will try to understand the request first. Based on your request, it will prepare the response. It will make the database connectivity, fetch the data, and get back to the client, right? So that is the whole thing you can consider for the client server architecture or server side scripting. So what we are going to do is, whatever the client will be able to see on a browser, that will be your front end part, right? But whenever the client see that page and it interact with the page, at that time your request is going to be initiated, your request is going to be sent to the server. And whenever any request is coming, how your server is going to react, how your server is going to respond, that we are going to see. And for providing the responses or respond, you have two technologies. In Java, we have two technologies through which we can handle the request. One is called as the servlet and another called as JSP. Servlet and JSP. So let's just understand both these technologies turn by turn. So first of all, let's discuss regarding the Java servlets, right? So what is Java servlets? So servlet is nothing else, but that is a technology which is used to create the web applications, right? So how it we can use it for creating the web application. So basically, servlet uh, is a one type of a Java class only, right? You can consider servlet is a one type of a Java class. That means it is developed using the Java language only. So whatever the extension, whenever you will create your servlet file, whatever the extension will be there, that will be .java only, because we are going to utilize the same Java structure only, the classes, the objects, the methods, and everything. Only the difference is there. We are going to utilize a specific library files and some specific packages only, right? So based on those packages, we can be able to access or we can be able to deal with the request and the responses, right? So that is the only thing, right? Other than that, you are going to write your code in a Java language only. The execution will be same as how your basic Java code is running, right? The same way your this servlet program is going to be executed, right? So which type of packages we are going to utilize, that we will see later on. But before that, we need to understand the life cycle, that how this whole thing is going to be executed, how all these things works. So basically, your servlet file or your servlet program is having four different stages. Okay, first is the loading a servlet. So this you can understand very easily when if we take one example. Let's say I'm a client and what I want to do is I want to access Facebook application. Okay, so what I will do as a client, I will open my browser, right? And I will search for Facebook. Whenever we are searching for the Facebook, our request goes to the server wherever our Facebook application is deployed, right? From that server, it will fetch the data and it will get the response, right? And that response will be nothing else but the landing page of your Facebook. Landing page, that means the index page, the first page, which is always showcased to all the users, right? After that, we are logging into the Facebook and then we are able to see our account page and everything, right? But before that, the login page, the landing page they are providing us. So whenever we are sending the first time request for accessing the Facebook, and whenever we are getting this landing page, at that time, the first phase of your servlet program will be started. That is loading and initial instantiation. That means it will load the class and it will create the objects of those classes. And it will make all these things ready to use with the help of init method, right? That means initialize method is going to be called. That is called as the initialization of your servlet program, right? So in initialization, what will happen? Whatever the resources are there, whatever the spaces are there, all those things are going to be provided for executing the or for performing the task, right? So everything is going to be ready. Now your servlet is ready to provide the service, right? Now you have logged in. Now you are able to see your account, right? And after that, you are just checking or you want to upload any image. You want to do the post, right? That means you will click on a post, right? You can right, create a post, then you will upload your image and whatever the Hello. I hope I am audible to you, right? There's some network issue.
Yes, ma'am. Now
Let
you
me
are
just.
audible.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. In that case, let me just turn off my camera so that we can just save the bandwidth, right? Just a second. Hmm. Okay. Yes. So I was telling you that whenever we are doing uploading any image, or we are just clicking on create a post or something, that means we are requesting for something, right? And in that case, what happens, our service method is called. The service method is responsible for handling your request. So init method is going to be called only once in the beginning only, right? Whenever we are loading everything, we are making the first request. At that time, your init method is going to be called. That will be once in the beginning only. Now everything is initialized, everything is provided. Now, whenever the next request will come, your service method is going to be called again and again. Sorry, again and again and again. That means it is going to be called multiple times. How many times? The time whenever you are utilizing your Facebook application. Throughout your Facebook application, your service method is going to be called again and again and again, because it is responsible for handling your request. And the service method is the one who will provide you the response. So once it based on the request, it will provide you the response, and after that it will again go back to the init phase, right? It will be ready for the another request, right? So this phase is going to be happened multiple times. And whenever you are closing the window, or you are logged out from your account, right? At that time, you are calling your destroy method of your servlet, right? So this is going to be called once in the end only. Whenever you complete everything and you want to go outside from your application, that means that at that time you are calling your destroy method. So destroy method is called just to clean up the things, right? That means what it will do, it is going to free up the space. Whatever the resources are allocated, that is going to be free. Whatever the space is occupied, that is going to be free up, right? So that is the use of the destroy method. So that is, you can consider end of the servlet program, right? Now, again, if you are opening the Facebook application, so again, it will start from loading and instantiation and everything. So this is how you can say your servlet program or application is made up of 4 stages: loading, initialization, request, and destroy. Initialization, in that we will call init method. For handling your request, we will call the service method. And for destroyment of the servlet, for cleaning purpose, we will call the destroy method. So these are the 3 main methods which we use in the servlet programs, right? I hope this servlet lifecycle is clear to you. Is there any doubt in this? What is servlet and how it works? Okay, great. Right? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Urvashi ma'am and Sushma ma'am. Yes, thank you, Rupal ma'am. Okay, so let's just move ahead. Now let's discuss which type of packages we can use for developing our servlet application, which APIs we can use. So basically for servlet, generally we use 2 packages. One is java.servlet, right? And another is java.servlet.http. Why 2 packages are required? So basically whenever you are utilizing java.servlet, so in whenever we are dealing with the application, there will be not like only one servlet program or servlet file will be there. There will be many servlet programs will be there, servlet files will be there, right? there will be many HTML files will be there, right? So whenever you want to make the interaction between these files, right, from one page to the another program file, we want to redirect from another to third to fourth to fifth, right? So whenever you want the interaction between these files, these program files, you should use this concepts of java.servlet packages, where you will get the interfaces like request dispatcher, servlet request, servlet responses. These are the mainly used for handling the request and the responses in between the program files, right? And this java.servlet.http package is mainly used whenever you want to do the communication over the internet. That means whenever you are handling your actual requests which are coming from the client, right? HTTP request, HTTP response, HTTP session, right? All those interfaces are going to be used by in this java.servlet.http package. So these are the mainly two packages which we are going to use. One is for the internal communication purpose, and one for the internet, over the internet communication purpose, right? So these are the mainly packages. And for internet communication, we know that we use HTTP protocol generally. Whenever we are working with the HTTP, we know HTTP contains two types of messages, right? One is, you can say, the request message, and another is the response messages. And these messages are handled using different methods also, we know, right? That is get method, post method, put method, delete method, right? Head method. There are lots of methods available in the HTTP protocol, right? So all these methods you can use, you can call in the servlet programs. But one thing you need to make sure that if your request is coming with the help of the get method, in that case, you need to provide the response in a get method only. That means if I know Hindi, right? If I'm talking in Hindi or English, right? So in a response, what I'm expecting, I should get the response in a Hindi or English only, right? If I am asking for something, so your answer should be related to that only, right? So this is what here, whenever you are dealing with the requests and responses, whatever the method you are following for handling the request, the same method you need to follow for handling the response also. But there is one another method, which is the service method. So this is the generic method. Generic, that means this will consider automatic method. It will not be like a particular get or post or put or delete, but it is a generalized method. So in a generalized manner, it will provide the response, right? That means if your request is in a service method, your response must be in the service method. But if you will give the response in a get or post, then also it will not make any error kind of thing, because service is the generic method. Right, so that is the case. So these are the different methods available in HTTP. So whenever we will deal with the requests and responses, we will see this different methods. So mainly we are going to utilize get and post method, and we will see the difference between these two methods as well, that what actually happens whenever we are utilizing get method and what happens when we use the post method. But this is just for the knowledge that there are the different methods which we can use for handling the request and the responses. And this is the structure of a servlet, but there is no need to worry about this structure because we are utilizing the Eclipse IDE. And that is the beauty of Eclipse, that it is going to provide us the whole folder structure automatically. So whatever the files, whatever the things we are creating, that is going to be stored in a structured manner, in a layout manner properly by the Eclipse IDE only. So what is the structure? What is the folder architecture? All those I will showcase you whenever we will do the hands-on part, right? So this is what the structure of your servlet program you can consider, right? So as we have so far talked regarding the servlet, let me just talk regarding the JSP as well. And then we will move to the hands-on part, right? So what's JSP is basically, so JSP stands for the Java Server Pages. And this is also used for creating the Java, web applications, just like the servlet, right? So the question will arise is that both are the Java technologies, right? So why if servlet is there, then why JSP? What is the need of JSP, right? So basically the difference you can consider between these two is initially only servlet was there and then later on JSP is created. So this you can consider the extended version of your servlet, right? So whatever the problem we were facing in the servlet, to solve those problems, we come up with a new idea, that is the JSP. So for that, you need to understand what was the problem in servlet. So in servlet, as I said, it was completely based on the Java. That means if you want to give the response, right? So response is going to be handled by the browser only. And what browser understands? Browser understands HTML or text language only, right? So whatever the HTML or text content you want to display, that you need to write in a Java code only. And that was the difficult task, right? Everything you need to write in a Java. For presentation logic also you need to write in a Java code. So that was a bit difficult, the complex part. And to make it simpler, the new version is created, the extended version, that is called as the JSP, right? So JSP is completely based on HTML format. That means the file extension will be HTML, but the structure of the file will be same as your HTML. So whatever the Java code you want to write, because the business logic, that means if you want to perform some calculation, if you want to do some instructions, right? So for that, whatever the Java code you are writing, that Java code you can write in a form of text. And those texts are called as JSP elements. Right? So how you can represent JSP element? For that, the tag symbol is like this, right? This percentage. Because of this percentage, you can consider that this is the JSP program. Otherwise, if you are using this tag, so this will be your HTML program, right? So this is how you can write the Java code in the JSP. Right, so as it is very easy to write the code, that is why the JSP is invented. The another thing is that in servlet, as I have showcased you, that there are so many classes and interfaces, right? But if you want to utilize those methods, those interfaces, you need to create the objects. You cannot directly use those interfaces, right? If you want to access the methods, you need to create the objects, and then with the help of the objects, you can utilize that interfaces methods, right? But as we need to every time create objects in servlet, what they do in JSP, they have provided inbuilt objects. Okay, they have provided inbuilt objects. So now in JSP, there is no need to create objects. Instead of that, we can directly use the object name and we can directly call the method. We can use the interfaces and everything. So that is the another difference. But the main thing, if you will see through the life cycle, then you will understand the thing that all other stuff is same only. Only these two differences are there. Other than that, everything is same only. You can see what is the difference. We are creating the JSP file. That JSP file, first of all, going to be translated in the servlet file, right? Because server do not understand this code. What server understands? Server understands the object file, the class file, right? So your JSP file, first of all, going to be converted into .java file. And Java is a higher level language, so we need to compile it and we need to convert it into the object file, .class file, right? And once it is in a class file, then your init method, your service method, your destroy method is going to be called. The same scenario, whatever we have seen in the servlet, the same thing is happening over here. There is no change. Only the changes in the upper part. That JSP file is going to be first converted to the servlet and then it is going to be executed. So because of this translation, it is a slower you can consider, because one step we are increasing over here, right? So if we are making the code writing, the developing easier, then it is difficult to execute their code, right? So that is the case, right? Another difference, if you want to see, so the another difference you can see is that the servlet plays the controller part in the MVC architecture, right? We know MVC stands for the model, view, and controller, where view is used to just display part, right? Display, that means the presentation part. Controller is responsible for handling the whole thing, the requests and responses and everything. And this is for the structure part, right? So from the MVC architecture, if we are utilizing the servlet file, so servlet mainly focuses on the control part, that means the business logic, while your JSP, as we are writing everything in a HTML form, right? So it focuses more on a view part, that how it will be represented at this browser screen, right? So it focuses on the presentation layer more than the logic, right? So that is the difference. Other than that, servlet is faster, as you can see on the life cycle. JSP is a slower. Servlet accepts all the protocol requests, while JSP only consider HTTP request. Right, so that is the another difference or drawback of utilizing JSP. As our main focus is on developing the business logic, so we are going to use the servlet programming in the hands-on part. Right, so this was all about the theoretical knowledge on this server side. So now we are just going to go through with the hands-on part. So before that, I just want to know from you that is there any doubt in any of the topic? Yes, participants, do you have any doubt for any of the topic, whatever the theoretical concepts we have covered today? Okay, great. Great.
Ma'am, one doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
For both the implementation like servlet or JSP, whatever the environment you told, the same environment is required.
Yes, same environment is required because both are the Java technologies, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Eclipse is mainly used for the Java based application. So the same environment we can use.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I already have Eclipse IDE and Apache server in my system. So do I have to unzip them again or not?
So in that case, you need to check that which Eclipse IDE you have installed, because the Eclipse version which we are utilizing, that is for the enterprise edition. There are lots of Eclipse versions. There are for C, C++ also. We have the Eclipse development kit. For standard edition also we have the Eclipse environment kit. So you need to check that whether you have installed the standard edition or enterprise edition. If it is enterprise edition, then it is okay, you can use it. But if it is other than that, then you need to reinstall the Eclipse.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, yes. Yes, is there any other doubt, anyone? Okay, so as there are no other doubts, so here I would like to request all the participants to please turn on your camera so that I can click the group photograph. Then we will complete the attendance part and then we will start with the hands-on part. So I request all the participants to please turn on your camera for the group photograph. Okay, great. Smile, please. Okay, I have clicked the photograph. Now you guys can turn off your camera. And now let me just share the attendance form link with you. So in the chat box, I have shared the attendance form link. So I request all the participants to please mark your presence in this Google form. Make sure that you are providing the same mail ID which you have for the LMS login, right? So here we will just wait for 5 to 6 minutes so that you can complete your attendance, and then we will continue with the hands-on part. In the chat box, we have shared the attendance link with you. So I request all the participants to please mark your presence for the morning session. We'll just wait for 5 minutes and then we will continue with the hands-on.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, in the chat box, I'm sharing the attendance form again for you. So if you have not marked your presence, then please mark your presence in this Google form.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, yes, sir.
Ma'am, can we use the standard and enterprise version together?
Yeah, you sometimes provides some issues, some errors, but in some of the cases we can use it based that depends on which drive and what particular versions you are utilizing. But it is better to use any one edition at a time.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, and if you are utilizing the enterprise edition, so by default, your enterprise edition is built up on your standard edition only. So whatever the things you are able to do in a standard edition, that everything you will be able to do in enterprise edition. So if you will use only enterprise, then that will work for you.
Both like Swing applications.
Yes,
Both
all
applications
those,
are
yes, that is also there in enterprise edition.
okay, ma'am.
I hope everyone has marked their presence, right? Is there anyone who is still remaining? Or shall we continue with the technical training? Sir, Mahesh sir, which type of error you are getting, sir? Because I think this Google form is working for everyone. Okay. So should I share the attendance form with you again?
Yes, ma'am. Please send attendance form.
Yesterday my name was not there. Today I registration. Do the
Okay.
registration. Then
Okay. Just
please.
a second, ma'am. Let me check into my account whether your
Okay.
name is reflecting or not.
Supriya Kadekar. My name is.
Okay. Okay. Just give me 2 minutes.
Okay.
Supriya Patil is there. Ma'am, your surname is? Okay. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. For you, I am not able to see your name in my account. So might be possible
Hello.
you have done the registration using the wrong link.
Hello. Hello.
I will check.
So let me just provide you the link, okay? And with the help
Yes.
of
Hello.
that link, please
Hello.
try to do the registration again.
Okay, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Hi, ma'am. Myself Ajit Karanskar, ma'am. Yesterday I also registered on this website. But can you check my name? Ajit
Sorry.
Karanskar. Ajit Karanskar.
Ajit sir, still your name is not there in my account. So
But
I would
yesterday,
request you to
yesterday,
use this registration link. Just check whether in the chat box I have pasted the link, whether you are utilizing this link or any other link, because Your name is not reflected in my account.
But ma'am, yesterday
Please,
I
ma'am,
have
share the link.
it will show the
Yes, in the chat box, I have shared the link, LMS registration link. Just go through with that link. And once
okay,
you
okay,
complete your registration, let me know. So after 15 minutes, it will reflect in my account.
okay, ma'am. ठीक.
Hmm. Okay, so I think we are good to start with the technical part. So let me just share my screen again. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So for doing the practical part or hands-on part, first of all, we need to set the environment of our Eclipse. Why we need to set the environment? Because we have just downloaded the Eclipse package and we have just unzipped the folder, right? So before we start with the program, we need to first of all set the environment, and then we need to configure our Tomcat server in Eclipse IDE so that we can attach the things and then we can run our program on a server. Right, so these are the two steps which we need to do first of all, and then we can start with the programming. So for that, what you need to do is, first of all, you need to open your Eclipse IDE. Okay, so for opening the Eclipse, before you open your Eclipse IDE, I would like to suggest you to create one folder where you want to store or save all your project work. In my case, I have created a folder named as Eclipse project, and here I'm creating a folder, let's say FDP January 2024. Okay, so this will be my workspace where I will be able to where I will be creating all my project files and everything. Okay, now I will go to the location where I have extracted my Eclipse file. Right, so in my case, I have extracted within my E drive. In the E drive, you can see Eclipse folder is there. So I will go to that folder. Here you can see there are two files which are of application type, right? Because Eclipse is an application, so we need to run it, right? So to use the IDE, we need to open the application. So you need to select the third last option over here. Here you can see the Eclipse logo is also there, the blue color with having 3 lines in between, right? So this is the actual application. So you just need to double click on it. So it will open your Eclipse IDE. If you are opening it for the first time, so it will take a little bit longer time to open it, right? So now you can see what it is asking. It is asking me to select my workspace. That means it is asking me that whatever the project you are going to develop, you are going to create, where you want to store it, where you want to save it. So in my case, I have created a folder. So I will go to the browse option. I have created FDP Jan 2024, right? So I will select this folder and will click on select folder. You can see my workspace is E Drive Eclipse Projects FDP January 2024. Okay, and then you just need to click on a launch. That means all the things are going to be set up based on that folder location, which we have just provided. That means whatever the structure, the program structure is going to be created, that will be created at that location. Okay, so it will take only 1 minute to just open your Eclipse IDE. So let's just wait for 1 minute. So we just need to wait till this green line reach to the end. Yes, it has reached. You can see by default, whenever you will open, it will look like this. The Eclipse IDE for Enterprise Java and Web Developers. This is the package. This is the environment which we have installed in our system. So this is the welcome tab. What you need to do is you just need to close this welcome tab. Okay. Whenever you will close this welcome tab, it will look like this. This is how your Eclipse IDE will look like. In the left hand side, this is the project explorer. So where right now, as we have not created any project, so it is showcasing you the shortcut links to create or develop any particular project, right? But once we will create a project, this will be the place where our project folder is going to be created, right? Now this middle window is for writing the code. This is the location where we are going to write our servlet program, our HTML code and everything. There is no need of this outline because this is just going to provide the editor outline, right? So there is no need to see the outline. You can close that. And in the below side, you can see there are so many tabs available: markers, properties, server, data source explorer. Data source explorer is used whenever we will connect our database. This is for the database connectivity. Terminal, you can see where if you want any output in a terminal, so that is going to be showcased in the terminal part, right? So this is what all the tabs are. Here we need to set the environment, right? So by default, as we have already installed the enterprise edition, but we need to check whether it is the same or not. So for that, you just need to go to the Windows tab. You need to go to the Windows tab. In the Windows tab, you need to go to the perspective. In the Windows tab, you need to go to the perspective. Within this perspective, go to the open perspective. In open perspective, go to the others. I'm again repeating, go to the window tab. In window tab, you need to go to the perspective, then go to the open perspective, and then go to the others. Whenever you will click on others, all the perspectives will be open over here. So here we want to create enterprise edition application. So you need to select Java EE, which will be the default because we have installed that package only, right? But still for our for just to cross check, you just need to select this and you need to click on open. Whenever you will click on open, it will not make any difference in your appearance, right? Because by default, the appearance was the same only. But we need to check this thing that whether we are in the enterprise edition or not, right? So this is the first step. Now, registered now, but it shows that you already registered. Yes. So Supriya ma'am, it is because you have already attended any other FDP earlier. So that is why with the same mail ID, you cannot do the registration. So what you need to do is you need to use any other mail ID for registration purpose. Okay. So use any other different mail ID and try to do the registration. I hope it is clear, right? Supriya ma'am. Okay, fine. Yes, so let's move ahead with the hands-on part. So now we have set the environment first. Now, what was our second step? We need to attach, we need to configure our Tomcat server with our Eclipse IDE, right? So for that, what we need to do, you need to go to the server tab. Okay, you need to click on the servers tab. Whenever you will click on the servers tab, you will see this line in that window. That is, no servers are available. Click this link to create a new server. That means if you want to attach a server with your Eclipse IDE, you need to click on this link, right? So I'm just clicking on the link. Whenever you will click, this type of window will pop up, right? In this window, what you need to do is you need to go to the Apache folder because we want to attach Apache Tomcat server, right? So you need to extract this Apache folder by clicking on this arrow. Whenever you will extract it, you will be able to see the different versions of Tomcat, right? But the base suitable version is Tomcat version 9, which we have already installed in our system. So you need to select this version, Tomcat version 9.0 server. Okay. Whenever you will select it, automatically the server name and the server's host name will come. So there is no need to make any changes over here, right? You can keep it as it is and you can click on a next. Whenever you will click on a next, it will ask you to browse for the Apache Tomcat files, right? Whatever the files we have downloaded, it will ask you for the installation directory, right? You can see Tomcat installation directory. So for that, you need to click on a browse. Okay, for providing the Tomcat installation directory, you need to click on a browse. If you will not select a proper directory, then this next and finish button will be in a disable mode only. So you need to select the proper directory for that. Now, which directory we need to choose here? So we need, wherever we have extracted our Tomcat, Apache Tomcat zip file, right? So that folder we need to just select. In my case, I have extracted within E drive. My folder name is Apache Tomcat 9.0.70. So I'm selecting that particular folder only. And I will click on a select folder. Right? You can see I have selected the directory and automatically this two buttons get enabled. Now I can click on next and then I can click on finish as well. Right? So now we'll just click on next. Here there is nothing bigger because the first time we are doing it. So no projects we have. So we do not want to configure anything. So we will directly click on finish. Whenever you will click on finish, your server is going to be attached with your Eclipse IDE. Once your server is attached, after that, you cannot make the changes in this server, right? So if the steps are clear to you, then please let me know. Otherwise, if you want me to repeat the steps, then I can repeat it. If I will click on finish, I will not be able to showcase the steps again. So is it clear how you can attach your Tomcat server with Eclipse? Or should I repeat this step? Yes, participants? Yes, okay. Yes, Sumedha ma'am, for you, I will repeat this step. Right here, what you need to do, I will close this window first of all. Okay. Whenever you will open your Eclipse IDE, you need to go to the server tab. Okay. In this server tab, your server right now is not linked with your Eclipse IDE. So you need to link it. For that, it will provide you the link in the server tab. So you just need to click on that link. Okay. Whenever you will click on this link, it will open one window, pop-up window, right? In that, you need to select whatever the server you want to utilize. As in our case, we are utilizing Apache Tomcat server. So you need to extract the Apache folder. And you need to scroll it down and go to the location where we are having our version. So our version is this one, Tomcat version 9.0 server. So that you need to select. You need to click on it. So it is going to be get selected. Once you will click, these two things will come automatically. So we will keep this as it is and we just need to click on next. Whenever you will click on next, it will ask you for the installation directory. Okay, in my case, I have extracted my Apache Tomcat in E drive. So that is why my directory is E drive Apache Tomcat 9.0.70. Right, you can click on a browse button. Whenever you will click on a browse, you just need to browse to the folder where you have unzipped your Apache. right? So in my case, it is within the E drive only. So this is the folder which I am selecting. You need to select the folder. Then you just need to click on next and then you need to click on finish. That's it. Right? Is it clear, ma'am? Yes, Madhvi ma'am, Sumedha ma'am, is it clear? Okay, great. Thank you so much. So now I'm just clicking on finish, right? So you can see if I will click on finish, it is saving my Tomcat server. And you can see now instead of that link, we are getting the name of our server. And what is the default name which we have given to our server? That is Tomcat version 9.0 server at localhost. And automatically you can see the server folder is also created in our Project Explorer. Right? This means that we have successfully linked our server with Eclipse IDE. Fine. So this is the thing. So we have now linked both the things. Fine. So now we are all set to do the hands-on part. Now we are ready for performing, for creating our first servlet program. Okay. So as we are creating the program first time, so what I will do, we will just create a very simple servlet program. Okay, very simple servlet program we will create, which will showcase, which will just print or display a welcome message. Okay, we will simply see how we can display a welcome message, right? So that is our first program. Then we will add on the things into our files. But our first program will be how we can display the welcome message on a browser screen. Okay, so for that, what we need to do is we just need to open our Eclipse IDE. Here, we need to create our first project. Okay, here we need to create our first project. So what I will do, I will click on the file. Okay, I will click on the file. I will click on new, go to the file, click on new, and in the new, you need to select dynamic web project. You need to go to the file, click on new, and then you need to select dynamic web project. Okay, in dynamic web project, what you need to do is here, this type of pop-up window will come. Here you need to provide your project name. Okay, so let's say this is our first application. So I'm giving demo application. Okay, the name of the project I'm giving, let's say demo application. After that, you can see the project location. So by default, this checkbox is checked that use the default location. What is our default location? Whenever we have opened our Eclipse IDE, at that time, whatever the workspace we have selected, that location is going to be used for saving this project. Okay, so that will be the thing. Now, next is target runtime. So as we want to run, this is the server side part, right? So we want to run it on a server. So what is our server name? That is Apache Tomcat version 9.0. You need to just check that whether you are getting the same name or not. Okay. Then the web module must be 4.0, which is the latest one. Okay. Then the configuration must be the default configuration for Apache Tomcat version 9.0. These three things you need to check that whether you are also getting the same values or not. If it is the same values, then you need to click on next. Okay. Here you can see they are providing our path for the build path for the source folders. Okay, so this is automatically they are providing. No need to make any changes over here. We will directly click on next. Right now, here you can see what they are asking. They are asking that whether you want to generate web.xml file Okay, what they are asking that whether you want to generate web.xml file. So yes, over here you need to check this checkbox that yes, we want to create. Now the question will arise, what is the use of this web.xml file? Right. So basically this web.xml file is used to add the dependencies. It is used to link your files, link your pages with each other. Okay, so that is why. So if we are checking this checkbox, so automatically it will create the web.xml file for us. And all other settings, all other links will be automatically provided. Right. So that is why we are checking this checkbox. And after that, you need to click on a finish. I think someone's mic is unmute, so please mute yourself. Yes. Okay. Right. I hope these steps are clear to you that how you can create your project. Okay. For creating the project, you need to go to the file, go to the new, in that select the dynamic web project, provide the name of the project, check the three things that whether the server is Apache Tomcat version 9.0 Tomcat server is not, is there, then the module version is 4.0 and the configuration in that you need to choose the default configuration, right? And then you need to click on next. And here you need to check this checkbox and then you need to click on a finish. Whenever you will click on finish, it will create a project for you. You can see in the Project Explorer, the demo application folder is created. And if you will extract this particular folder, there is a one arrow. If you will click on that, it will extract this folder. And you can see in that all the things are there. The Java resources are provided where the library files and all those things are there. In the build path is there and the source folder is there. In the source folder, main folder is there where you can save your Java files. That means your servlet files. And in web app, you can store your HTML and web.xml file. So as we have checked the checkbox, that is why web.xml file is automatically linked over here, right? So this is the project structure, which is automatically provided by the Eclipse IDE. Okay, now our project structure is ready. So it is the time to create our servlet program file. For creating a servlet program file, you need to click on your project. That means you are selecting your project. After that, you need to do the right click. You need to do the right click. After that, go to the new, do the right click. In that, go to the new, and then here you need to select your servlet program. Okay, servlet file. Whenever you will select your servlet, this type of pop-up window will come up. Here, your project name is automatically come, demo application. It will ask you for the Java package. We do not want any Java package. Then it is asking for the class name. Make sure over here it is asking for a class name, not a file name. Why? Because in Java we know whatever the class name we are having, the same name must be provided to our file as well. Right? So it is asking you the class name so that the by default class can be created for us. Here, let's say I am providing the class name as a welcome. Right? Because we want to display the welcome message. So I am giving the name as a welcome. Okay. There is no need to write .java over here because this is the class name, not a file name. Okay. So we'll just provide welcome. That's it. Then we just need to click on a next. Here, no need to make any changes. Click on a next. Now here they are asking that which type of method you will use for handling requests and responses. By default, you can see two checkboxes are checked. Do get method, do post method, right? So I will uncheck do post. First of all, we will see do get. and then we will see how do post method works. Okay, so here I am just checking this to get method, and then you need to click on a finish. Whenever you will click on finish, automatically your servlet file will be created based on whatever the things you have selected while creating a file. You can see over here, right? Everything is coming automatically. All the necessary important packages which is required for servlet, that is already installed, right? The file name you can see, that is welcome.java. Extension comes automatically for the servlet file. Then you can see the class is automatically created, welcome, which extends the HTTP servlet class because it is the servlet program, right? So all the default thing which is required, that is provided by this Eclipse IDE automatically. So what we need to do here, we just need to make the necessary changes based on our requirement. Fine? Is it clear, everyone? Till now, do you have any doubt? Now I'm going to start with the coding. So is there any doubt so far, whatever the things we have covered? Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Madhvi ma'am, Ram sir. So now let's just start with the coding. So here, what I will do is, first of all, I will just comment this line number 30 because that is not required. Okay, in the do get method, whatever I'm going to do, right, that I will write over here within this get method. But before I will start writing the code, I would like to mention that what does this get method means. This is the name of the method. And in this, you can see there are two parameters already passed. Which are those two parameters? Those parameters are HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response. These two are the interfaces. Okay, these two are the interfaces because this is the servlet program which we are utilizing, that is for handling the requests and the responses. So these two interfaces we will use in a get method because method is mainly created for handling requests and responses, right? As it is the interface, as I said earlier during the theoretical part, that we need to create its object, right? So this request and this response are the objects of these two interfaces, right? So that is already mentioned. So now we can use this request and this response word for utilizing the methods of this particular interfaces. Okay, so that is the scenario. Now, let's just start writing the code that how we can showcase the message on a browser screen. As this is a servlet, that means we are providing the response. So what type of response we are going to provide? Because this response is going to be displayed on a browser. And browser understands the text and the HTML language only. So here you need to first of all mention that whatever the response, this response is nothing else but this this object of HTTP servlet response interface, right? So response dot set content type. What method we will use? We will use set content type. As it is the Java based technology, it is case sensitive. So whatever the name is mentioned in the packages and the files in the libraries, the same name we need to use, right? So here C will be in a capital, T will be in a capital. Set content type. What type of response we will give? We will give text HTML response because browser understands this language only. Okay, so we have mentioned that what will be our response. If you want to write anything in Java, we use println, right? Println method we use document.write, that is in the JavaScript, right? So we use the println method So for accessing the print method, which is of a print writer interface. So we need to first of all create an object of a print writer class. So here I will create object of a print writer. Print writer is the interface. Out I am giving as my object name, and I am giving response dot get writer, which is the default constructor of print writer class. Okay, so that we are utilizing, and we'll put the semicolon. Here for the print writer, we are getting some error. You can keep your cursor, and what it is saying, we need to import this print writer class. So you can just import it by clicking on the import button. Now you can see error is gone, and if you will scroll up, this print writer class is also imported, right? Okay. Now we have created the object out. Now what we will do, we will use this out object to call print method, right? Here, as we want to display a simple message in the HTML form, if we want to write, so we can use HTML, then we can use body tag. You can write the things within a one single line only, or else you can create individual lines also. Here I will use H1 tag, where I will mention welcome to the session. Fine. And I'm closing my H1 tag. So here, whenever you are dealing with the servlet program, in that you need to make sure that whatever the things you are opening, that must be closed properly. Whatever the HTML text you are opening, that must be closed properly. Otherwise, it will provide you the error. Right. So here, as we want to showcase only welcome message, that welcome message I have written. So as in the theory, I mentioned you that if you want to write any HTML code, that you need to write in a Java format. So you can see I have used the println method, and within the parenthesis, I have mentioned it so that the browser will understand these things as a tag, and the proper effects will be provided. Right. So our coding is done. We have written whatever the code we want to write, because we just want to display a one simple message, that is welcome to the session. That's it. Right. So this is done. Now it's time to run our project, run our program. Okay, so how we can run this? So for running the program, you need to go to your project name, that is demo application, do the right click, go to the run as, and click on run on server. Again, I am repeating the steps. To run the file, what you need to do, you need to go to the project, select the project name, do the right click, go to run as, and select run on server. Whenever you will select run on server, it will ask you to select the server name, and that is Apache Tomcat version 9 for us. And select this, click on next. Here you can see this file is configured, right? Demo application is our name of our project, right? File is configured, and click on finish. Whenever you will click on finish, you can see this Tomcat server will start, and it will open the browser window, and it will run the code. In our case, after opening the browser window, it will showcase you the error message. In our case, if you will see, it is showcasing you the error message. What type of error it is showcasing? It is saying that HTTP status 404. That means not found. 404 means not found. That means whatever the file we have created, this particular application is not able to, server is not able to find that particular page. So can anyone tell me what can be the reason why it is not able to find our file? Because we have just created the file, right? In front of you only I created the file, and it is there only in the Eclipse. So what can be the reason why it is not working? Why it is showcasing the error? Any guesses? Anyone? Why the error message is coming? Any guesses? Yes, participants. We created our servlet file, but it is showcasing the error. Based on the error, what do you think? No idea? Okay. So to understand this, yes. So to understand this, you need to first of all answer one question. The question is, servlet is which type of technology? Client side or server side? Servlet. We have created a servlet program, right? So servlet is which type of technology? Client side or server side? Server side, right? Absolutely correct. Now, when your server side program will run, when your server will run the code, when it is going to be executed, whenever any client, whenever any client sends request, because at the server side you will get only response, right? But if no one is asking me anything, then how I can respond? For responding, there should be some action performed, right? And who can perform that action? Client can perform that action, and that action is called as nothing else but the request. If request is coming from the client side, then and only then my response will be showcased. Right now we have just created the response and we are running the whole project. That is why your server is saying that sorry, I am not able to find anything, because we have not created any client side page, right? There is no such landing page. If client side page is not there, so client will not interact. If client is not interacting, then request will not created. If request is not created, then response will not be provided. That is why this problem is coming. Fine. I hope this is clear, right? So now I have created a server side file, but I want to check whether the code is proper or not. So without client side, I will not able to see. No, it is not like that. If you want to check that whether your server side file, your server side page is working properly or not, for that you can run that file forcefully. How we can run it forcefully? So for that, instead of selecting the whole project, you can select that particular file. In our case, that is the within this Java folder, welcome.java file. So select this file. Now do the right click, go to the run as, run on server, select your server, click on next, click on finish. You can see now this particular file is executed. Why? Because forcefully we have said that I want to see the output of this file. So we have forcefully created the request, right? This is not from the client side. The request we have created as a developer. Okay, that is why this page is visible now. Okay, but actually we should always work like client side and the server side. Okay, so we should always create a client side page first. Then on the basis of that page, we can provide the response. Fine. So you can see our code is working properly. Whatever the message we have written, that welcome message is coming. Fine. Is it clear? Or is there any doubt in this?
No, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Rakesh sir. Thank you, Sumedha ma'am. Yes. Okay, great. So now you are aware that how we can create a servlet file, right? So now instead of doing the forcefully calling this, what we can do, we can create a client side, that means one HTML page, right? And then we will redirect on this servlet page. Okay, so for that, what we can do is, let's just create one, let's say registration module, right? In registration module at the client side, what we will provide, let's say this is client side. In that, we will just take name and the password only. And there will be the register button. Whenever the client will click on this register button, we will showcase the welcome message. Okay, so this will be your client side. This will be your server side. Fine. So now let's just try to do this. For that, I will quickly go to my servlet program. Here, I will click on my project, do the right click, go to new, and I will create HTML file. Okay. Here in the HTML file, this is asking me the file name. So I will provide the name with extension. Let's say I'm giving registration. Okay, registration.html. And I will click on next. You can see by default, the template is HTML5. We'll click on finish. Fine. So here you can see HTML file is created, registration.html. In the title, let's just add registration page. And in the body part, as it is the registration page, we are going to take the input from the user in a in name and password field. So that is we can do with the help of the form. Right. Whenever we want any client interaction, we have only form tag through which we can make the interaction. Right. So in body, first of all, in the H1, I will make registration module. In the form, quickly we'll create name, input, type, because these things we have already covered on day one, right? So I will just quickly try to create these things. Input type is equals to text. We'll use the BR tag, and password, I will give input type is equals to password. BR tag, and lastly input type is equals to submit, value is equals to register. Fine. So here my HTML page is ready. I have created 3 fields, name, password, and submit button. Now, here as a developer, we are responsible. We need to say that if client will click on the submit button, where it will redirect our request. How we can say that? We can say that within the form tag using action attribute. Through the action, we can mention the page where we want to redirect. In our case, the page is welcome. Okay, so we will mention welcome. And as it is a request, right? So we need to mention the method that how the response will be provided, right? So method will be as the welcome page. In that we have used the get method. So here your request must be using the get method only. Fine. We will save this. These 2 things are done. Okay. Now here we need to do one more thing, and that is web.xml configuration, because now we have client side as well as the server side. And at the client side, we need to mention that this is my landing page. This is my welcome page. This is my first page, which is going to be showcased to the client, right? So we will go to the welcome.xml file. For opening that, you need to do the double click on web.xml. Okay, if you will do the double click, it will open the web.xml file. You can see it will look like this. here you need to go to, by default, you are in the design tab. Fine. You need to go to the source tab. Okay. In the source tab, you can see by default some welcome list is there. Right. This welcome list is nothing else, but by default, the landing page is mentioned in web.xml file. But here in our application, we don't have such default or index files, right? So what I will do, I will delete line number 6 to 10, because landing page can be only one, right? There cannot be the multiple landing page. So I will remove the all the other files. And instead of index, I will mention over here registration. You need to make sure the spelling, or if you have given the name in the capital, then you need to mention in capital, small, right? So all those things you need to keep in your mind. Fine. Now this welcome file list we have entered. Now what I will do is I'm going to add the servlet details as well. Then after welcome file, how my servlet page in URL, how it will look. So for that, first of all, we need to mention the servlet information. So what is our servlet information? So in the servlet information, you need to provide two things. One is the servlet name. Name of our servlet file is welcome. So we will mention welcome. And the another thing is servlet class. So file name and the class name are same only. So we will mention both the things are same. And now we need to map our servlet with the URL, right? Which servlet we want to map? So first of all, servlet name, that is welcome, and the URL pattern we want to give. So it should showcase /welcome. Okay, and save this. So our web.xml file is also ready. So now what we have done in this case, we have created servlet file. Yes, which steps you want me to repeat, sir? Ram sir? XML. Okay, yes, sure. So in XML file, during creation of our project, what we have done, we have checked that checkbox, right? So by default, our web.xml file was created. So to open that file, what you need to do from the Project Explorer, you just need to double click on your web.xml file. So the file will open automatically. By default, if you will see, some of the code will be already written. Okay. So in that, there will be multiple welcome file list. Okay. There will be multiple files for the welcome. Now we know welcome file list, that means that whenever we are running the project, what should be our landing page? What should be our first page which is showcased on a screen? Okay. So that is called as the welcome list. In our case, that is the registration page. So here I removed the other welcome files, right? And I just kept only one welcome file tag and given the name, that is registration.html. Okay, this is the one thing. Now, after that, we need to also, because once we will click on the register button, the request is going to be there on a welcome.java servlet file, right? So at that time, whatever the code will be executed on a browser, we need to showcase some URL, right? So we need to also inform that which are our servlet files. So that we need to mention in this web.xml file only. For mentioning that, we need to use servlet tag. And within that servlet tag, we need to provide two tags. One is servlet name and another is servlet class. Okay, servlet name, in that you need to provide the name of the servlet, right? And in servlet class, you need to provide the class name, right? Another thing which you need to mention, that is servlet mapping. This is for the URL purpose, right? Whatever the servlet we have mentioned in earlier, that servlet we want to map as a URL, that is as a /welcome should come. That means whenever we will run on our browser, in the URL part, it will showcase as demo application or whatever /welcome, right? So this is how the URL will look like. So for that purpose, we have written this code. Okay, so this is the case. Whenever we work with the dynamic application, we always need to update our web.xml file. Otherwise, it will not add the dependencies of the files from one file to the another files, right? Is it clear? Or is there any doubt? Yes, Urvashi ma'am, do you have any doubt? You are on a unmute. I think by mistake she has unmute herself. So let's just move ahead, and it's time to just execute our code. So for execution purpose, now I will run the whole project, right? Because now we have the client side as well as the server side. So instead of running the servlet program forcefully, I will run the whole project. Run as, run on server, select your server, click on next, click on finish. It will start the things. Right, you can see over here, the registration page is there. It's just taking a little time because I'm doing it so quickly. So yes, you can see registration module we have created. If you will click on register, then it is redirecting on welcome to the session, and you can see the URL, right? Welcome, demo application /welcome. So this is how your client side and server side will work. Fine. I hope this is clear, right? Is there any doubt in this? Do you have any doubt in the application? Shall we move ahead? Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Yes. So now what we will do is, right now, without filling any field, I have just clicked on register and I showcase you the message, right? Sometimes what happens in majority of the times, whenever we log in into any of the account, at that time in the welcome message or on a next page, it is showcasing our name as well, right? Welcome Vidhi or whatever the name you are entering. If here I have entered Vidhi, so it should represent welcome Vidhi. How this Vidhi will come? That data is going to be fetched from this input, whatever the input is written or given by the client, right? So how we can fetch that we will see now. So for that, I will again open my Eclipse IDE, right? If I want to fetch the data from the input, right? Right now I am the registration.html file. If I want to fetch the data from this text boxes, we need to uniquely identify these text boxes. And for unique identification, you can give over here the name attribute. So here I'm providing name is equals to, let's say, NM. For the name field, I'm giving name is equals to NM. And for the password field, I'm giving name is equals to, let's say, pass. Okay, or PS, whatever. But pass is good only. Fine. So this is the case. Let's save this. Now I will go to the welcome.java file. Here, what I will do, we have already mentioned that how we will provide the response and what will be the thing. Now we just need to fetch the input which is entered by the client, by the user. And that input is where the user has entered that input whenever user is requesting for something, right? Registration.html file, whenever it will click on submit or register button, that means it is requesting for accessing something. So in the request, with the help of the request object, we can be able to access the input which is entered. For that, which method we can use? We can use get parameter method. Okay, we need to use get parameter. Which parameter? Through which parameter we can identify the unique identification which we have given for the name field, that is NM. So here we will mention NM. So what we are saying? We are saying request.get parameter NM. That means whatever the field, whatever the data is entered in this NM field that I want to get. But after getting it, we need to store it. We need to save this somewhere, right? So for that, I'm creating a string. Let's say username. Okay. So in username string, I'm saving the name which is entered by the user. And whenever I am displaying this particular message, with this message, I will just pass uname, right? So whatever the name is there, that is going to be displayed on the welcome page. Save this. Okay. Let's just try to refresh. Let me just close these things. Let me just try to run this, right? This is the application. Do the right click, run as, run on server. Select the server, click on next, click on finish, start over. Right. So now in the name, I am entering Vidhi T. Pandya. I will click on register. You can see welcome to the session Vidhi T. Pandya. Whatever the name is entered, that is displayed on a browser screen. So this is how, with the help of the get parameter method, we can fetch the data which is entered by the user. Fine. I hope this is clear, right? Is there any doubt how we can fetch the data? Yes, faculties, do you have any doubt in this? Okay, great. Now, if you will see over here in the output, I have entered the details in a name field, right? You can see in the URL, the name is also entered, Vidhi T. Pandya. If you will go back and if you will give the password also, let's say 12345, if you will click on register, you can see in the URL, the name is Vidhi Pandya and password is 1234. This type of thing is coming. Why? Because right now we are utilizing get method. And whenever we are handling the requests and responses using get method, it carries its data in a header part in the URL only. That is why the get method is not secure, because your crucial information, your important data is visible in the URL only, right? So instead of get method, whenever you are working with this crucial data, you should go with the post method. So what you can do is over here in the welcome.java, instead of get, you can make it as a post where P is in a capital. You can save this, and in the register.html, instead of get method, you can put it as a post method, and you can save this as well. Right. So now let's just run this files again. Here, if you will enter, let's say Vidhi123, password I'm giving anything. I will click on register, right? Vidhi123, name is coming. But if you will notice your URL, in the URL, it is not reflecting your name and the password. So post method is the secure method, you can say, right? So this is the difference between get and the post, because post method carries the data into the message part, not in the body part, not in the head part, right? So that is why post method is secure while get method is not secured. I hope the difference between get and post is also clear to you, right? Okay. Yes. So, sir, over here, I have not made any much changes, but whatever the code we were having, in that I have just changed the name of the method. Instead of the get method, I make it as a post method. Okay. In both the cases, I make it as a post method. And after that, if you will run this, so you will see that whatever the whatever the data is entered into the text box, right, that is not coming in the URL whenever we are working with the post method. So that is why it is secure. But if you will check this one, this was with the help of this one with the help of the get method. So in that, you can see whatever the data is entered by the user, that is passed in a URL. So that is why you can say the get method is not secure, because it carries all the data into the head portion, not into the body portion. Right. So whenever you deal with the critical information, the important data, you should always use the post method. But post method is little bit slower than your get method, right? Because it is heavier, because it carries the things in the body part, right? So if you think that the things should work fast, quickly, you can use get method, but the condition is your data should not be critical, important. Then you can go with the get. Otherwise, you can use the post, post method. Fine. Is it clear? Yeah. Okay, great. Fine. So as these topics are clear to you, now I would like to say the another thing we can discuss, that right now we have just created one servlet file and only one HTML file. But whenever we will deal with any dynamic application, in that case, it is not like that we are going to all every time use the one single file, right? There will be the multiple files, and the interaction must be there within that multiple files, right? So now what we will do is, let's just make instead of a registration module, let's just make a login module, right? In the login module, what we can do, we can check whether the data which is entered by the user, that is correct or not, right? So let's say this is the client side. If client is opening the login page, name and password is there, right? Clicking on a login, right? Okay, whenever the client clicks on a login, let's create a validate page, that is the validate servlet page, right? In that validate page, we will check whether the user is authenticated or not. That means the name and password is matching or not. So right now we have not made the database connectivity, right? So we cannot check with the database, but by default, we can provide the default username. Let's say by default, the name we are giving, that is Vidhi, and password we are giving, let's say 1234. If whatever the details are entered by the user is matching with these two details, then we will redirect on welcome page, right? Welcome page is nothing else but the servlet page which we have already created. That means the communication between two servlet pages, right? So this is what we want to do now. I hope this thing is clear, right? What we want to create. right? So let's just try to do this. For that, I will open my Eclipse IDE. First of all, I need to create a login module. So quickly I will go to the new, create a file, HTML file. I will give the name as login. Click on a next, click on finish. So this is nothing else but the login page, right? So I will, as the things are same as your registration page, right? So what I will do, whatever the things we have mentioned, I will copy the same thing and paste in a login to save the time, right? And instead of registration, I will make it as a login module, right? In the action, we will redirect on a validate page, right? Validate page. Input over here, let's give it as a name. And here, let's give it as a PAS, pass. And value, instead of register, let's give it as a login. Right. So our login page is ready with us. Fine. What I will do from registration module, let me just redirect it to the login.html. Okay. We'll redirect on login.html. From registration, it will redirect to login page. In the login page, whenever we will click on the login button, it will redirect to the validate page, right? So we need to create a validate page first, right? So how we can create it? For that, I will open okay, so here what I will do, I will just right click, go to the new, create the servlet file. In the servlet file, we'll give the class name that will be the validate, right? Because in the login, we have given the validate, right? Click on the next, click on the next, and we will use the post to method. Click on the finish, right? So this validate page is here with us. So here, what we need to do, we need to check. But for checking, we need to take the response. So the same thing is there in the welcome page, right? So I will just copy these 3 lines. Copy and we'll paste. We'll paste over here, right? And here we'll give at as username, and here I will give it as a name, right? Because in the login.html, we have given as a name, right? And for the password, PAS. So in a validate, I will use string user pass is equals to request dot get parameter and will pass PAS. Right. So both the things I have stored within my 2 variables. Now, what we need to do, we need to check the condition that if, right, if username dot equals, if username dot equals, by default we are giving the name, right? If username dot equals, what was the name? That is, let's say, Vidhi, right? If username dot equals, that is Vidhi, and the another condition was the user password dot equals That equals to what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? If these two conditions are satisfied, right? Then what we want to what we need to do? We need to do response dot send redirect. We will use the method send redirect. Okay, where we want to redirect? We want to redirect on welcome page and save this. Right? What we have done? We have just mentioned if username and passwords are matching with our criteria, then we are going to redirect on a welcome page. Fine. For the welcome page here, I will like to make the changes as a get method because it in a send redirect, it will consider the get method. Fine. Let's just try to run these things. Right click, run as, run on server. Sorry. I forgot to add the servlet file in the web.xml file, right? So the new XML file we have created, right? So we need to mention that. So I will copy the same code and instead of welcome, I will mention it as a validate. The code is same only. We just need to repeat the steps. That's it. Nothing else, right? Whatever the number of files you will create, that all files you just need to add on. So here instead of welcome, we'll mention validate. Here again, I will mention validate. We'll save this. And now let's just run it. Right? Whenever we will click on register, it will redirect on a login. In a login, I'm giving with the same name and same password, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? If we will click on login, you can see it is showcasing welcome to the session. Why it is null coming? Because it was fetching the data from the registration page. That is why the null is coming, because we have not made the changes in the welcome file, right? Otherwise, it is working properly and perfectly, right? If we are not entering the same name, okay, if let's say I'm entering any other name, some other password, and if we will click on login, it will not redirect on anything. It will not showcase anything, right? Because we are on a validate page only, and in the validate page, we have not mentioned any message. Okay, so this is the case. So if you want to display the message, then in the validate file, you can add the else portion, right? You can add the else portion. If it is not there, then you can say out.println. In that you can mention, please do registration, right? You can save this. You can go. You need to run this now. Fine. Click on register. If you are entering any wrong data, and click on login, please do registration. But if you are entering the correct data, that is, let's say Vidhi, and the password I'm entering 1, 2, 3, 4, both are the correct one. And if you will click, then welcome page. I hope this login module is clear to you. How we can use the request response.send redirect method. I hope that method is clear to you, right? How we can do the communication between the servlet pages. Is it clear, everyone?